And Joe Steckler is coming up next right now. And here is Joe.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. This is Joe Steckler, folks. Believe it or not, I'm back here for another week. I just like for people to remember that helping seniors is designed to inform, educate, and connect seniors and those that care for seniors with resources that are available to them in Brevard County. We're broadcasting today from station WEJF at 90.3 FM in Palm Bay, Florida. We've been here a number of weeks now. We call ourselves the Talk to Me Network. And the reason we call ourselves the Talk to Me Network is because we're trying to build upon this station here, and we hope to expand our radio net to where we have more coverage and we're able to bring more people in on the education and information aspect of radio. One of the biggest problems that we have with growing older is that we simply don't seem to have the information that we need to have to grow older and age with dignity. But that was the reason that Helping Seniors was founded back in 2011. We believed that if we could develop a radio show that provided good, honest information to people and they listened to what we said, we could help a lot of people. Now, all of this is paid for with donations. That we just finished a huge car raffle at the American Muscle Car Museum, where we had about 2,000 people in attendance. And the owner of the museum, Mark Pylock, who has 262 cars there, valued at about $65 million, was very, very pleased to see the turnout. This man built this museum, staged all these cars there. They're all his. And he only opens it to charity event participants. And what that means is that if you want to see the cars in there, you have to go to a charity event, make a donation to the charity, and that'll entitle you to whatever the charity is offering at their event, plus admission in to see the cars. And I'll tell you that our event was very, very successful because we had over 2,000 participants, and we had a huge food lines, and we're going to change that a little bit for all of those of you that are listening that attended. We'll have our food lines a little bit different next year, and you won't have to get into a line like you veterans had to do to get in, just get your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. We'll be able to go to smaller tables to pick up things. But the beverage lines will be the same because they have all our own refrigerators built in. And it's just a fantastic evening. And we had the Harbor City Barbershop Quartet going around. This is the second year they participated. But all this is made possible, folks, by people that help pay our way. And since I'm going to be doing a dramatic monologue this morning, my panelist is not able to get here, and we just learned that. So what I'm going to talk about this morning is I have my granddaughter here with me, and she's a student at Texas A&M, and I'm going to ask her at some point here in the show in a few minutes to talk a little bit about what a 20-year-old sees in the aging people, how she views aging. See, and I want her to think about this while I'm talking. I'll give her a chance to gear her thoughts up. I did not talk to her about this, folks, on the way down to the station, because years ago, when she was, I think, 6 or 7 years old, she and her older sister and older brother did a radio show with me on Thanksgiving back up when the station was WMEL. And Bella held her own with her brother and her sister, who were older than she was. She didn't let them get ahead of her and what she had to think about Thanksgiving, what Thanksgiving meant to people, and what it could mean. And she had some very, very good thoughts. But right now I just want to remind people that the people that pay for the way for our show are organizations like Dr. Lee Sheldon. And consider this for a moment. A lot of you, I get a lot of calls. Probably about the third or fourth highest number of calls I get for help have to do with dental problems. And I have one person now that has got, evidently, I haven't been able to work this one out yet, but got dental work done, and now they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay for it. You got to figure out how you're going to pay for things before you do it. And once you do it and try to find the money to pay for it, it's sometimes going to be a big problem. But we do have a source in the county, and I'm going to talk about that. What I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to go through some of the things that are available that you don't know about that will help you wind your way through this business of growing older and living on a fixed income. So I really think you should stay with me this morning and listen to some of the things I'm going to talk about. Because when I just mentioned Dr. Sheldon, here's what he does. And he's been doing this for years. If you go into his office for a dental examination, he will do a complete circular mouth-around x-ray of your teeth, examine your teeth, look and check for periodontal disease, and tell you what he thinks. And for that, you make a donation of $50 or more to a charity of your choice of the 6 or 7 that he has listed there. Helping Seniors is one of them. Over the years, this has raised several $100,000 for charities in Brevard County. And there's Dr. Sheldon. There's the Eye Institute. And I get my eye work done at the Eye Institute. And you know that we did a TV show. It's if you go to Senior Scene magazine, you'll see a listing in there in the last pages of the magazine. You'll see a listing of the 15 TV shows that are shown weekly on television, and one of those shows is my cataract surgery that was done by Dr. Darlington at the Eye Institute. It was they did the cam work live as they did my surgery on my eyes, and so you can see how cataract surgery is done. I didn't feel anything. It was just amazing. And it did improve my eyesight. But it's organizations like that. There's another one we do our when we do all our paperwork for the car raffle. We have posters, we have inserts of the cars, we have return envelopes, we have a lot of things that are done, and this is a tremendous cost to a nonprofit, and all this work is donated by Allegra Printing. It's just a fantastic thing, but the owner of Allegra Printing has decided he wanted to help us, and we go into, and a lot of the questions I get from people that call on the our number, and our number for Helping Seniors is 321-473-7770. And one of our sponsors is a fellow by the name of August Velton. And August has a financial resource company where he can talk to you about savings plans, how to invest, how to do a number of things. It's not strictly one of these it's not a place where you go in, you get a stockbroker, and he moves your money around from place to place, and it costs you money every time he moves your money. That's how brokers make their money. They make their money by moving your stocks and getting the charge that it costs them to do the work. August doesn't do that. He does it differently. Another one of the sponsors is Chateau Madeleine. It's a brand new resource center just opening up, and they decided to be one of our sponsors when they saw what we did with our outreach program. And one of the reasons that Helping Seniors is a good thing for the county is that our outreach is tremendous. We have the television network, And that means there are 15 TV shows shown weekly on the Space Coast channel on television. Those shows are all listed in every issue of Senior Scene magazine. And Senior Scene magazine, there are 12,000 copies printed every month, and that magazine is delivered to 500 locations in Brevard County, and it contains information of importance to seniors. And we get a lot of calls from people that have read the newsletter that we have in the center of Senior Scene magazine, because while 12,000 copies are printed and distributed, we believe that the readership is in excess of 40,000. And that's not a lot of people reading this when you think we have 600,000 people in Brevard County. But we also have this radio show. We also have columns and articles in Al Dia Today, the Spanish paper, Ebony News Today, the black paper, the Spotlight magazine, the Space Coast Information Channel, and also on Hometown News. And that's the newspaper that's about right now has a distribution of about 80,000 every week in Brevard County, and I have a column in there every other week. And a column that will be in there this next Friday is a column dealing with what seniors should know about the Florida and the Brevard County budgets, and how seniors are ignored in both budgets. And it is ironic that seniors are ignored in both budgets, because seniors are the second highest number of people participating in the budget. And now, since at my age I'm starting to run out of air here a little bit, I'm going to introduce my granddaughter to you, and I'll get Bella to talk for a few minutes here. And you'll see what, for background, Bella is a junior will be a junior at Texas A&M. Her dad was just retired as a 3-star general in the Air Force. Her brother graduated from the Air Force Academy, and he is now a pilot. Her mother is a registered nurse, and she's involved with Juice Plus products, and she very strongly believes in nutrition, and she's convinced that she can make my 85 years go back to 65 years through nutrition, which is just not going to happen. But I'd like for Bella just to talk for a few minutes. She can say whatever she wants to say, but I want her to talk about what it means to her to see her grandparents age, to see other people she knows age, and what she, as a young lady, thinks about, or whether or not she's even thought about trying to plan for aging. What do you say, Val?
Well, thank you for having me on here today. It's very special that I get to be here and be with you, Papa Joe. So I feel very blessed to be here. But I think that's a very good question. And I think in college, oftentimes we think about the future, but we think about the future in 5 to 10 years, not necessarily the long term of what aging is going to look like. But I think most importantly, something that I have always valued in spending time with grandparents or even just people that are older is the power of stories, and that each person that you meet holds stories, and in that story that they've lived, there's wisdom. And I think that's something that I actually know in a lot of my friends in the community that I run in, that I think a lot of people my age do believe in, but necessarily don't seek out. So I think that in aging, as where I am in life, there's a lot to learn from people that are 50 plus or even just 5 years ahead of me. And I think that goes with the power of storytelling. Just like I have a story, you have a story, and every individual that I meet has a story that in kind of the adventure that they've lived. And so I think something that we could all take. And I would encourage other young adults and even kids that are my age is to seek those stories and to learn the wisdom and hear about the adventures that the elderly or those that are older have lived, because I think we can learn from those. And it can also be an encouragement of, the years that are to come. And I think it's a very cool point that when you're older, you can sit and you can look back at the life that you've lived. And I hope one day I can look back at the life that I've lived and also share the wisdom that I've gained through the adventure that I've lived. And I hope I live a life that is full of adventure and has a story that I would like to share. So I think that's, when I think about aging, I think it's something that's not on my daily thought or mindset, but I think there is great value in learning from those that are older. And I hope and would encourage other students or young adults or kids to sit down with people that are older, that are aging and going through different things in their lives, and ask to hear those stories. And I hope that the elderly and those that are older desire to share those with others and to share those with those that are younger, because I think students and kids just do want to hear those.
Well, I think you're right, Bella. I think that a lot of us, and families particularly, don't realize how much value our grandchildren and children place on what we've done throughout our lives. Your dad was in the Air Force for many years, but I was in the Navy, and I know I've told you a lot of Navy stories, and every time we get together, we always try to figure out how we can talk about things that would help us and be better informed. But one of the things that I get concerned about in the young men and women going to college today is that I don't know if you have any courses in college that talk about financial planning or what. Do you have that?
Yes, actually. A&M, I actually just got an email about this about 2 weeks ago, and they're offering basically a financial planning course that teaches you the fundamentals of what you need to know to go out in college, planning ahead, and then once you're out of college and you're in the workforce and what that looks like, and financial planning for long term. And so that now they offer that course to all majors and all students for credit. So I think there's great value in that. And to answer your other question that you had mentioned previously about planning ahead for aging, I think there's two ways that I've thought about this, and I think that comes from my parents instilling this in me and bringing it up as a question. But I think preventative medicine and realizing that the way you treat your body and the choices that you make now, even when I'm 20, could have a long-term effect on where I'm at when I'm 40, 50, 60, or so on. And I think just like how we treat our bodies and our minds also goes financially. The decisions that I make now will have an impact in kind of the life that I will live later down the road. So I think that's a really good point. I think that could be emphasized more and should be encouraged more in our education system to kind of learn the fundamentals of that if you're not learning that at home.
And I think also that the grandparents that are listening to this conversation that Bella and I are having can learn a lot from this, because you hear a young woman, 20 years old, saying things that you, as a 60, 70, 80, or even a 90-year-old person, could say to your grandchildren about how you need to think about what you're doing. And one of the most neglected things, Bella, is families fail to discuss financial matters in front of or with their children. So children, as they grow older, should be treated more as an adult in the sense that they should know when there are financial difficulties, and they should know how parents work or how they try to plan in order to get out of those financial difficulties. If you don't do this, if you don't help the children try to understand what the pitfalls are, then they grow up without an understanding, and they get themselves in trouble. Example, I think the credit card debt for the average person now in the entire United States is between $7,000 and $8,000 per person. Credit card debt. And when you think about some of these credit card debt rates of 29%, you start to see how people use a credit card and get themselves into debt like crazy. Have you ever heard of a television or radio show called Dave Ramsey?
I have. He has books as well.
He what?
He has books as well.
So have you looked at them?
I have not, but one of my close friends, before she graduated high school, her family made her go through it.
So what did okay, do you know anything about it?
I know tidbits, but not a lot. No, I do not.
But what did you gain from your friend and what she read from the Dave Ramsey books?
If I'm remembering correctly, because it's been a while since we've gone over this, is he doesn't use credit cards, does he?
He is against using credit cards.
Yep, and so it's cash, and then you have a debit card, correct?
Right.
Uh-huh, and so that's kind of how you circulate through, and you don't rely on credit.
Yeah, he's saying don't get yourself into debt, needless debt, when you don't have to. Do a better job of planning when you're younger and incur debt that is wise debt, and so it's an interesting thing. See, folks, I did not coach Bella. I didn't ask her a thing. I didn't say a word to her about on the way on her to do this radio show, because I didn't know I was going to put her on. Since my guest didn't show up, I just put Bella on. But I had a sense that she would give some good answers to what we're talking about. One other question I'd like to know: did your mom and dad ever talk to you about finances, debt, going to college? What did they say to you? What kind of guidance did your mom and dad give to you?
Absolutely. I think the big thing that my parents instituted within our family was, I'm trying to remember when it was, but we got a debit card growing up. And I want to say it was at the end of middle school, start of high school. And then we got allowances once I started middle school, and it was our job to manage those allowances. So a percentage went to a charity or a church, wherever we wanted to tithe, and then we kind of would navigate, okay, if we wanted to buy this luxury good, or I don't know, this shirt, or a good kind of, we managed our money out a little bit, and they kind of walked us through that process. And I can remember doing that ever since I got an allowance every month, and then that allowance increased as we got older and there were other expenses. And then going to college, it was kind of a very natural transition, because I had had a debit card for years, and had kind of had to manage my money throughout all of high school with their support and guidance, of course. But it was kind of just a natural transition into college of what that was going to look like and what was expected of me in managing my money that way. And then once I got to college, I also got a credit card for emergencies, because my family was quite far from me. And so whether that looked like a car issue or something that I had to spend, I always kind of have that with me for emergencies. And so that was kind of what it looked like in our family. But finance, I would say, in financial just planning and discussion of that is not something that we've ever feared or has been a contested topic. And so it's been fairly open in talking about it. So I think that's something I'm grateful for. I think there's definitely a lot more that I am excited to learn and need to learn as I transition from college and then probably into the workforce, and as I continue education through graduate school or wherever I decide to go. It will look a little different of kind of being more financially on my own and financially stable without my parents' support, and that will kind of be my next transition.
So what you're saying, Bella, and what I hope other grandparents that are on listening to this show certainly take in, is that the trust that you place in your grandchildren through your openness and your honesty with your grandchildren, and having them understand what you are and what your values are, as long as they're good values, how the knowledge you have is held often very dear by your grandchildren, and you don't ever overestimate or underestimate what children can pick up and what they can learn.
Absolutely. And I would just encourage the more you're willing to talk about it and share mistakes or successes, I think, I think most kids and grandchildren would love to learn and desire to learn from that.
So, what do you think Texas A&M's football chances are going to be in the fall?
Oh, no.
What do you think they're going to do?
I hope they're good. It will make the games more entertaining.
Yeah, but...
we're hoping Jimbo can help us out. So
Fisher?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we got 1 minute. What do the students at Texas A&M think when they hired Jimbo Fisher from Florida State?
I think for the majority, everyone was pretty excited about it. Honestly, I think everyone was ready and hoping that it can kind of turn the tide a little bit and we can have a more winning team because it makes the games a lot more fun when you're standing the whole time.
I think we get to about football. I got caused some goosebumps to develop on my granddaughter. She got excited about football, but that's part of college. And if you get excited about different things that are happening in school, it makes a lot more. The memories are much better. Yeah.
So much fun.
Did Natalie did your sister go to the football games?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone at A&M goes to the football games. It's a good time.
Okay. And what do they charge you to go to the games?
You have a sports pass, and so you get into all sporting events with that fee as a student.
And that's part of your tuition?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Are we about there, Jim? Okay, folks, we're going to take our mid-show break, and I thank my granddaughter for being on. And when we come back, what I'm going to do when I come back is I'm going to run down some of the programs that are open to you in the county. So please stay with us. I think you'll be very, very informed on the next part of the show. Thank you kindly. Thank you, Bella.
Thank you.
This is Joe Steckler, folks, back live with the second half of helping seniors. And I promised you I would go through some of the resources. And there are a lot of myths, and there are a lot of things that we need to know more about. And on the second part of the show, since I'm going to be giving you information, if you want to call in and ask a question about what I'm talking about, the phone number to reach us here at the radio station this afternoon is 722-9998, 722-9998. And I'm going to talk about the very, very first point of entry into the elder aging system. If you really need to get help from the state, you need to get on some of the waiting lists for care. And right now, and I mentioned this in my article that I'm writing, it's going to be published in Hometown News, the sad part about it is that there are roughly 65,000 people on the waiting list for activities of daily living, such as needing help getting dressed, showering, toileting, fixing food, house cleaning, like that. These are things that the normal person can do, but we have roughly 65,000 people in the state that cannot do these things, and they are poor enough to qualify for this stuff, and yet the numbers on those lists do not change from year to year simply because we don't put enough money in there. And here since I've been in Florida, we have increased the Florida budget over $30 billion. And it's just a sad, sad thing to me to see that we can't do a better job of that. And I know every time we mention the word taxes, we look at it as a fearsome word, but the only way we're ever going to beat this system down at a national or local level, if we really truly want to help our people, is we're going to have to increase taxes. And one of the reasons I say that, I just had a call from a man that had moved to Brevard County from New Jersey, and his wife had cancer. She had these catheters that he had to change himself, and it required pads and a lot of medical supplies that had been furnished by the state of New Jersey. He was also paid to be a caregiver by the state of New Jersey because they paid him at a much reduced rate that kept them from having to put his wife in a nursing home requiring skilled care that they would have to pay paid for. So they may have had to pay $90,000 or $100,000 a year to the nursing home to take care of his wife with skilled nursing care, whereas the man could do it at home, and they paid for the supplies and maybe paid him $10,000 or $12,000 or $14,000 a year. So it was a win situation for the state and for the family. They moved to Brevard County, Florida. The man is not paid as a caregiver. The man called me trying to find where he could get these supplies. I gave him a couple of numbers, and that's what we do. We try to give you information and education on where to go to get things fixed or solved or whatever kind of help you need. We try to help you solve the problem. That's our job. Our job is not to solve the problem for you, but in many instances, we do that because we know that you're not going to solve the problem on your own. It's just something that I know based on my 30 years of working in this system. But the number for entry point for the Aging and Disabled Resource Center is 1-800-963-5337. I'll say it again. 1-800-963-5337. And that's the phone number to get started. Folks, if you get disgusted waiting for it, don't get disgusted. You're not going to get through right away. It's going to take time. Another phone number that you should know about is one called Aging Matters. Aging Matters is the organization that gets the Older American Act money that was signed into law by President Johnson in 1965. And this money pays for the services I just described, where the man needed the catheters, needed the diapers, needed the pads and different things for his wife. They also provide people that will come in to the homes to help the people that are on this 65,000 person waiting list. And the faster you get yourself on the waiting list, and you do that by calling 1-800-963-5337, then Aging Matters can start to react and can start to help you. In other cases, they can help you right away, but you have to call them, and the number to call them is area code 321-639-8770. So by now, if you haven't figured out you need a pencil and paper, you better get one so you can write some of this stuff down. And if you forget, if you need help, you can call me at the office at 321-473-7770. 473-7770. Now, we get a lot of calls from people that simply need a little bit more to live on monthly. They are on a fixed income. They can no longer stand as a Walmart greeter, or they can't stand on their feet, which a lot of jobs that are available for elderly are require you to stand on your feet as a bagger or doing things like that. And you do make a little bit. But you can call the Alzheimer's Foundation at 253-4430. That's 321-253-4430. And the Alzheimer's Foundation has a respite program. And they need people that will go into a home with somebody that needs somebody to sit with them while the primary caregiver goes out and gets a break. You sit with a person for up to 4 hours. You don't make much. You make a stipend of $5. But for those of you that need an extra $100, $200, or $300, $400 a month, it could be the solution to your problem. You're not gonna make a killing there, but you're gonna earn what you need to help you take care of the needs that you can't meet without having that additional money. The other thing that the Alzheimer's Foundation will do for you is they will provide transportation. And this is one of the biggest problems that we have in the county. You call TransServe, you call SCAT, you have to do it week, 2, 3 weeks ahead of time. It's just pure hell sometimes getting a bus ride. But if you call the Alzheimer's Foundation, you can call Candy there. She runs the transportation program, and it's free. You can make a donation if you want to help pay for the cost of the gas and and a driver, and it's something we recommend. But if you can't afford it, you don't have to do it. They'll take you any place, take you doctor, take you shopping, they'll take you wherever you need to go. So that's a number they need to know. Another number that we're finding that more and more people need to know about, and I'm going to tell you, it's the Veterans Affairs out at Government Center. And the number is 321-633-2012. And the reason I'm so strong on the veterans thing is that we have over 75,000 veterans in our county. And what a lot of our vets don't know is that the clinic out there, besides the medical help, it does have, for certain people, dental help. It has eyeglass support. And the big thing it does have are hearing aids. They have just a wonderful audiology clinic, and the doctors out there are fantastic. And the reason I know is because I get my hearing aids from the VA. The audiologists are just fantastic, and every person that I have had go out there as a result of this radio show are calling our office and me telling you about the vets, the hearing aid devices. Not one person that has talked to me about going out there has been disappointed. They just think it's a wonderful, wonderful resource. And it is. So, but there are so many other programs that are available to veterans that they don't know about. And one of them is a program called Aid and Attendance. Aid and Attendance helps veterans and unremarried spouses of World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, or any other conflict. If you're an unremarried spouse, let's say you're living simply on Social Security of $1,200 a month, and I know women are living on Social Security of $800 and $900 a month without any other assets, nothing. And when I find out about it, and I find out they're unremarried spouses, they go to the VA. The VA works them up. They go and they get anywhere from $1,100, and I just had one person call me, and they got an additional $1,235 a month. That's on top of the $1,100 or $1,200 they were getting from Social Security. So they doubled their income. And I know that it's hard for people to believe that we have people in Broward County that are living on $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 a month and less, and they are. I have one woman that has lived in her home, paid her mortgage in her home in Melbourne for 30 years, and her mortgage payment, I think, was $810 a month, and she made something like $1,300. And she has managed to pay all her bills and live on that kind of a margin of profit. Another good thing that we need to know about are the community care for the elderly programs. And these are the programs that I mentioned earlier that deal primarily with care in a home, helping people that simply are older and frail, and they cannot take care of themselves. They cannot clean their house, cannot do things, and they have a shared income program out at the Community Care for the Elderly, which is part of the Aging Matters program, but their phone number is 631-2746. But you can do the same thing by calling 639-8770 for the Aging Matters numbers and tell them you want to speak to Community Care for the Elderly. That can help you a heck of a lot. Don't forget we have Daily Bread. Daily Bread is an organization that people think it's strictly for the homeless. It's not. We have families that go there for their lunch, and it's a very big thing for them. The other thing that I want to talk about just a second is this business of senior scams. No matter how much I talk to you on this radio station or on my television shows or in my newspaper columns. I talk about scams and say, if anything sounds too good to be true on a phone call to you, then it actually is too good to be true. It's not true. Here's a good example. If an organization calls you and says they're calling from the Social Security, hang up, folks, because the Social Security office absolutely does not contact anyone for any reason on a telephone. Now, you may talk to the Social Security people on the phone. They can do that. But it's not a two-way thing. They do not call you. The only way the Social Security office can get to you is by notifying you through the public mail. That's the only way. So if you get anybody calling you saying they're from Social Security and you need to do this, please hang up. And if somebody calls you and says you've won something, well, I would hang up. If you've won the Publishers Clearinghouse, that might be a little different thing. But if they call you and ask you for money, I sure would hang up. Now, if Publishers Clearinghouse called, I think I might treat that a little bit differently because it's like a 1 in an million chances that you get that thing. But I'd hate to think I'd ever give any advice on somebody turned down Publishers Clearinghouse. But almost all this stuff, folks, is it's just not worth. It's not worth the effort. Just a really quickly, a couple of other places that, I've always talked so much about elder abuse, and elder abuse doesn't always mean that somebody's beating the heck out of somebody. It's not always physical abuse. It can be family abuse. It can be taking your money through your checking account. It can be taking the money that comes in from the bank or something else that your family member may not realize what's happening, and you take that and use it. That's abuse. And for anybody that's got a question about abuse, you do not have to give your name. You can simply call 1-800-96, and then it's ABUSC. I hate that when they give it because I don't know the numbers myself, but it's 1-800-96-ABUSE. And just make a report. Tell them you think something's wrong. They will investigate it. And the reason I know is because I had somebody call me one time and say that she and her husband, who had dementia, had gone down to a car dealer to get the window fixed in her car, and the salesman sold her husband a car while they were there getting the window fixed. And she was in tears, and she had gone to the people at that place and said, hey, he's already bought it. She called me, I made a phone call, and I told the person he needed to refund the money and tear it up, and they wouldn't do it. So I called abuse. I gave him my word that within 3 hours, this place had been investigated, and the money was returned to the family. That's how quick it works sometimes. Not always, but in this case it did work. Another thing, I had a phone call from a gentleman 2 days ago. He had a 92-year-old father, lived here in Brevard County. He was hard of hearing, and he was trying to find out where he would go to get a phone that had a real loud ringtone or a light or something like that. I said, the place to go is the Space Coast Center for Independent Living. Space Coast Center for Independent Living. They're up on Rockledge on Morrell Boulevard, and they're next to that Entenmann's Bakery up there, and their phone number is 633-6011. 633-6011, of course, 321. Very good. But they also have a transportation program, but they have a whole series of telephones that they will give you free, that you can set all kinds of ringtones and all kinds of things to help somebody that is deaf. And it'll help a heck of a lot. There's also one thing is I want to mention this is a SHINE program. SHINE is called Serving the Health Insurance Needs of Elders, and it's 1-800-963-5337, 1-800-963-5337, and that number rings local, and one of the offices, they have 4 or 5 offices here in Brevard County, and what these people from SHINE do, they are, for the most part, retired insurance people, and they help you with getting the right kind of medical insurance. They make absolutely no money. They do not sell products. They help you make recommendations on products that would help you. And these people are trained. They're funded. The budget for this is $50 million throughout the entire United States. Each state gets roughly $1 million. And here they're talking about cutting the funding for a program like this off. You know, this is why I get so burned up with legislators that would even consider taking away a program like this in a national budget, because for $50 million you're helping. We have about 360 million people in the United States right now. And here we are thinking about taking a program of $50 million away that helps millions, literally millions of people get the right kind of insurance. It just doesn't make sense. And one of the last things I want to mention is the Meals on Wheels program. And here's the phone number for that. You go back to the Aging Matters number, 639-8770. The program is a great program. It's they don't have all the routes they need, but for the most part they can get food to almost everybody that needs it. So there's really no need for anyone to go hungry in the county. This is a program that's been around a long time. Bill, did you have anything else? Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I don't think so. I've loved getting to learn more. Sitting here, I didn't know these resources were available. So. Okay,
and I didn't know if you had anything else, but I just want to. The other thing, folks, I get a heck of a lot of calls. Probably, actually, this is the largest number of calls I get is for affordable housing. Affordable housing is a sad situation here in Brevard County. We have Crane Creek, we have South Lake Towers, we have Ascension Manor, we have Trinity Towers, and there are a couple more places, but they're the only ones. And one of the things I get calls on is housing, and it breaks my heart because so many people wait until they're forced to move out of their house because it can no longer care for their house. Then they need a place to live where it does not cost so much. So what you need to do is you need to call us, and we can give you the phone numbers for the places that exist. Get your name on the waiting list. Try to be prepared a little bit. Think about how you could maybe do a little better job planning for yourself. There's also numbers to call at the county for the county health department. There's the VA has the number for the VA clinic. And this is a number a lot of people should know. If you want to get through to the clinic itself, you can call 321-637-3788, and that's a direct line into the clinic. And not too many people have that. But the number for the VA, and you reach the team out at in the government services offices, that number is 633-2012. 633-2012, and there's also the Brevard County Health Department has a dental clinic for some of the poorer people that cannot afford dental care. You can call the health department for adult dental, and that number is 637-7300. 637-7300. and they have helped people. Also, there is the Brevard County Health Alliance for medical care that cannot be obtained any other place. You can call the Health Alliance, and that number is 639-5117. 639-5117. I gave you the number for Shine. The number for food stamps is 800-383-4959. There's also a one-time program that the Low Energy Housing Program, or Low Energy Health Assistance Program, is the phone number for that is 633-1951, 633-1951, and that number will help pay for an electrical bill that you have let lapse. There's also numbers to call for water assistance. You can call them out, Melbourne City. You can call it my knee just popped, folks. That's why I said because sometimes my knee pops when I don't want it and it hurts. There's just a slew of you should have gathered by now that over to your office we have so many numbers that you can call, and there's one other number I'd like to remind everybody of in the county. A lot of assistance is obtained by calling 211. So between 211, our number 473-7770, and Aging Matters, which is 639-8790. Did I say that right? 6398. Yeah, 639-8770. 639-8770. We're down to 1 minute. I hope that you've been you've enjoyed me giving you all this information. Phone numbers is certainly necessary, folks. And actually, what I've given you are most of the sources that people call me for help, are the sources I give it to them to help them help themselves. Now, if somebody can't help themselves, we certainly do the very best we can to help them. But in the last 35 or 40 seconds I want to thank my granddaughter, Bella, for being on the show. Bella?
Thank you so much. This is so fun.
Welcome. I think I scared her to death when she said she'd be on worldwide YouTube. And then what I ought to do is send it to her sorority back at Texas A&M so that everybody in the sorority can listen to it while they drink beer, because some of them are old enough to drink beer.
Exactly.
In Texas, you can do it younger, right?
Nope, got to be 21.
Got to be 21? Okay. All right. So I did. All right. Listen, thanks for being with us today. And I'll try not to do too many more dramatic monologues, but it's always good to give out information because there's so many people that need the phone numbers that I have given out today. And I want to thank Bella for being with me on the show, and I want to thank you, listeners, for listening. And I'm going to go home and recover. I'll see you next week here on 90.3 at WEJF. Listen to that music and don't forget it. Bye-bye.